today is an epic day for the markets. We're expecting a 25 basis point cut from the Federal Reserve. That announcement will come at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the announcement itself is not going to shock the markets. We all know 25 basis points. What's going to be key is the 2:30 press conference with Jerome Powell, because the markets will be queuing off whether he speaks hawkishly and says, you know what, we have to be careful here because inflation is still well above our 2% goal and actually going higher. So we may not be able to cut as much as we want. Or is he going to take the other angle and say the labor market is weakening, the economy is weakening, so screw inflation, you guys are all screwed essentially. We're going to have to really lower rates aggressively. All right. Now, again, my personal preference is deal with inflation, as it is an insidious thing that eats away at our buying power as citizens. But nonetheless, that's going to be the kicker, right? In all fairness, let's call a spade here. It would be very unusual for us to have a major move going into the decision versus the reaction afterwards, right? Every trader, including myself, is generally sitting on the sidelines from big new positions until we hear what is said, because that's going to determine if the markets break out or break down. Now, what's so fascinating is we've been following the S&P 500, that wedge pattern, the parallel on the NASDAQ 100, and now I even want to bring you a new chart, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All three of them are at pivotal levels. And again, it's amazing to me how the charts literally set themselves up for a pivotal move, either a breakout or a breakdown, literally going into somehow the Fed decision, right? So these charts are at their key levels. Like, you couldn't have choreographed this any bigger for what is about to happen. Okay, so let's flip back and go over to the S&P chart here. This is your daily chart. Now, remember yesterday, we talked about how on Monday, we closed above the wedge pattern. And a wedge pattern is simply two trend lines that connect lows and highs multiple times, and they start to converge. It basically creates a triangle. In technical analysis, it's called a wedge. Okay, now what we saw here is we kept bouncing off the low end of the trend line, and we attacked the high end. And then over here, we actually had one daily close above on Monday. But what do we know? If you've been following me for more than a week or two, and you've been watching these My Trading game plans, we know that it's not about a close above or below a trend line that creates a breakout or a breakdown, because I have been countlessly caught off guard, especially early in my career, till I figured out the confirmation signal on the wrong side, meaning that I thought something was breaking down because it closed below a level and I exited, and then all of a sudden it went right back up. And then it's vice versa. You know, here it is breaking out. I'm jumping on board early in my career, closes above once, and then it goes right back below, and it goes down even further. And I kind of am left holding the bag, or the rug essentially is pulled from. One other note, guys, we did get housing starts and housing permits today. These numbers were not good for the housing market. A negative 8.5% month over month decline in housing starts. That's a big month over month decline. And again, building permits were lower than expected, housing starts lower than expected. And I've literally talked to multiple brokers in the southern states, granted. Northern states, I think, are doing a little bit better. But the southern states, these brokers have told me that it's as bad as 2008 right now, like literally crickets out there. Now, honestly, if you weren't in prior, it's too late to get in now. Wait for a pullback. At least that's what I do, because I do not like to pay up. I never like to pay up. And this is really another good lesson. And again, I always try to bring my A game in terms of not only the alpha potential trade setups, but education. Education is bar none the most important thing and the most valuable thing in these game plans, guys.